What's up guys, Maelstrom here. If you enjoyed the video then like, subscribe and leave a comment down below so I can keep on making these awesome videos for you guys. Chapter 1, First Contact. It was late in the night of the ever-peaceful village of Kanya. One figure could be seen walking in the woods behind the Huckage monument. It was a young boy with bright blonde hairs and deep oceanic blue eyes. It had been a month since he was thrown out of the orphanage and he was seriously starting to feel hunger, thirst, but above all sadness. Naruto wandered the woods with no particular goal in mind, just thinking about why everyone in the streets looked at him with hate and disgust in their eyes. Damn, I'm so tired, it's been 2 days since I last ate, he thought, as he remembered behind the Akimaki barbecue restaurant where he found some leftovers in the garbage that was still edible. Then all of a sudden he sees something moving behind between the bushes. A kunai suddenly embedded in the tree only an inch apart from where his head is. There he is, guys. It's our lucky day. The demon is alone in this remote place, said a man. He was not alone, as Naruto could hear numerous more footsteps coming in his direction. What do you want, mister? Asked Naruto with obvious fear in his voice. What do I want? I want my son back, you monster, said the man as the other men and women who had been with him gathered around Naruto. Your son? Where is he? Replied Naruto, not understanding what this man's son had to do with him. Don't play the innocent with me, demon. You killed him and I'm finally gonna get my revenge tonight, said the angered man as more and more people joined him. Then the crowd broke apart to let one man advance. He was dressed in shinobi gears, but Naruto did not know how to tell which rank he was. He started to see that the crowd was actually composed of several of those shinobis, all wearing headbands with a leaf sign, between the people in regular civilian clothes. Mr. Shinobi-san, please help me. This man wants to hurt me but I'm innocent, I swear, said Naruto with tears in his eyes. As he was about to add something else, he never saw the man taking a kunai from his pouch and throwing it hard in his direction. The kunai hit his chest and Naruto could only gasp as the pain he felt prevented him from saying anything. Then all went dark. Huckage Tower. Hiruzen Sarutobi sat behind his desk contemplating the volume of paperwork he still had to do before he could call it a night. The council he had just left was more or less a repeat of what happened every year at the same date for the last 6 years. The council was composed of 3 powers, the ninja, the civilians and the elders. The ninja side was composed of the different clan heads of Konoha's noble families. Fugaku Uchiha from the Uchiha clan, Hiashi Hyuga from the Hyuga clan, Tsume Inuzuka from the Inuzuka clan, Shibuya Iburam from the Iburam clan, Shikaku Nara from the Nara clan, Inoichi Yamanaka from the Yamanaka clan, Choza Akimaki from the Akimaki clan, Asuma Sarutobi from the Sarutobi clan. The civilian side was composed of the most powerful civilian families, and finally the elder side was composed of Sarutobi's old teammates, Kouru, Homura and Danzo. Today's council meeting had been initialized by the civilian members once again with the same subject, Naruto Uzumaki. Flashback. Council chamber. We cannot let that demon continue to grow, Puckage-sama, said one of the civilian representative. We have to kill it before it is too late, added another civilian before the Sandaime flared his killing intent in the room, silencing all the civilians while the shinobi experienced mild discomfort. You will do nothing to the boy, and need I remind you all fools that the law regarding his tenant is still effective. The next offender will be accordingly punished, barked Sarutobi. Seeing an opening, Danzo tried to play his cards. Maybe a compromise. Sarutobi, if I could, started Danzo as he was immediately cut by the Sandaime. He will not be placed in one of your youth centers either, Danzo added the Sandaime as he thought about Root, and even though he knew Danzo never really abandoned his operation, he had no proof to stop the man. Maybe if we could adopt, started the Inuzuka clan matriarch Tsume, only to be cut by another clan head. Never. The Uchiha will not allow the demo thing to be adopted in the Konoha noble family. It would ruin the balance between them, said a smirking Fugaku, ignoring the glare he received from Tsume. And a flashback. Today's meeting ended in the same manner as all the meetings about Naruto in the past. Any idea to improve the boy's life was either blocked by the civilian council or the elders. Any attempt to adopt the boy was also vetoed. Sarutobi could only block the civilians' ridiculous attempts to kill the boy he came to see as a grandson. Speaking about the boy, Sarutobi had just came home from a long-month trip to Suna and wondered what his surrogate grandson was doing. He tried to visit the boy as often as he could, but his responsibilities as Hokage never allowed him to visit the boy more than once a month. He was a bit surprised that the civilian representatives had asked for a council meeting just after his return to the village this morning, but thought no more of it and decided to postpone his visit to his grandson to tomorrow. That was when he felt an explosion of chakra, so dark and evil that it could only mean one thing. "Naruto," said the Sandaime as he used his crystal ball to locate the boy. His eyes widened at what he saw. Naruto's location in the woods. Bodies were flying everywhere. Blood covered the whole area as Naruto stood there, in the middle of this hell. His eyes were slitted and red. His whiskers marks were more pronounced. He looked around to see that no one from the previous crowd was alive. Ninja and civilians, men and women all dead. Then slowly he closed his eyes as he fell to the ground unconscious. Minscape. Naruto wandered through what looked like sewers. He felt like someone or something was pulling him as he moved in autopilot to reach his destination, a giant prison cell with a sign that read "Seal" on it. He paid no mind to the bars and easily slipped through and went further inside the cell. He took a few steps inside when he saw a woman on the ground, panting, trying to regain her breath. She was beautiful. She had red hairs and red eyes. She wore a black kimono and no shoes. She had the body of a goddess, and what surprised him was the two appendages he saw on her head that looked like frog's ears, and more importantly the 9 tails that were flowing behind her back. "Ano, miss, are you alright?" he asked. She turned her head in his direction and her eyes widened when she saw him. "Naruto-kun, you're here," she said as she ran to him and enveloped him in a hug with tears in her eyes. "I was so scared for you when I saw what was happening outside," said the woman as she continued to hug him. "Do I know you, miss?" "How do you know my name?" asked the boy, a little embarrassed with the first contact he ever shared with a woman. She released the hug at his question and took a few steps back before lowering her head. She mumbled, "I'm so sorry, Naruto-kun. I am the reason why everybody hates you, why you are all alone in this world," she said with tears freely flowing from her red eyes. "How is it possible? I mean, I never saw you. How could you be responsible for what the villagers call me?" asked the boy. "Do you know of what happened 6 years ago when Konoha almost faced total destruction?" replied the woman. "Yes, the Kyuubi attacked the village and killed a lot of people before the Yondaime killed it," answered Naruto. "No, that's not entirely the truth of what happened. You see, Kyuubi cannot be killed. Even if it sustained important damage, it would just reform somewhere else after some time," said the woman before continuing. "The Yondaime had no other choice but to seal the Kyuubi. He sealed it inside a newborn to ensure that the massive chakra could be absorbed and not destroy the chakra system of an already developed body." Naruto's eyes widened as he realized where what she said was going. "Me," he said in a low voice. "I truly am the demon who took so many lives," he continued before she cut him. "You are wrong, Naruto-kun. I am the Kyuubi and we are two different entities," she said. "Then that means we are," he started. "Yes, we are in the seal in a dimension that you could call your Minscape," she said. "When you were stabbed earlier, I forced all the chakra I could out to help you," she added. He stayed silent for a long time, then he asked her, Why did you help me if you are the same demon that attacked the village 6 years ago?" "I will not tell you everything, but I can tell you that it was not my intention to attack the village. I was forced to do it by someone with incredible power," she answered. "You did not answer me. Why help me? Don't you have the chance to escape if I die?" he asked again. "I never wanted for you to suffer. I tried desperately to contact you for all those years, but the seal prevented me from doing so. The injury you received tonight triggered something that allowed me to help you tonight," she told him. He closed the distance between them and then completely surprised her when he hugged her and said, "I believe you, Kaiju-chan. You are the only one besides Gigi who ever helped me in all my life." She was surprised that he did not feel hatred towards her but returned the hug and said, "Do you not fear me now that you know that I am the Kyuubi?" "Why should I fear you? You are the most beautiful woman I ever saw, Kaiju-chan. You can't be a bad person," he said to her. She blushed at his answer before she shed more tears and smiled at him. Thank you so much, Naruto-kun. I am so relieved that you don't hate me. But you should know that my real name isn't Kyuubi. Kyuubi is my title. My real name is Natsuki." "It's nice to meet you, Na-chan. I am Naruto Uzumaki, future Hokage of Konoha," he said with a smile on his face and determination in his eyes. She blushed again at the nickname he gave her. "It's a pleasure to finally meet you, Naruto-kun. I will do everything within my power to help you achieve your dream. For that our encounter has unlocked your ability from me being sealed in you, she said. What ability? He asked with excitement in his voice. You have now the ability to control the wind to a level no one has ever reached. With the appropriate training you will become unstoppable, she answered with pride. Sugoi, I'm awesome, he exclaimed. We will talk about training later. You must go for now, you are starting to wake up, she said. Will I see you again, Na-chan? He asked, blushing. Yes, we can talk to each other now that we made our first contact, she answered with a smile as he started to fade away. Konoha Hospital. As he started to wake up, Naruto opened his eyes and saw he was in a hospital room. Then he saw his grandfather figure. You're finally back, Gigi. Chapter 2, Training Years. Konoha Residential District. Naruto was alone in his apartment thinking about all that had happened in the last 6 years since that fateful night where he discovered why everyone hated him. He was the Jinchuriki of the Kyuubi no Kitsune, prison for the most powerful demon to have ever walked the earth. He lived alone in this apartment since that night. Remembering how he came to live here made him smile. Flashback. 6 years ago, Konoha Hospital. After the incident, Naruto opened his eyes after the conversation with Natsuki to find himself in a hospital room. The Sandaime Hokage was there with a sad smile on his face. Naruto, my boy, how do you feel? Asked the old man. Like someone who's been stabbed. What do you think, Gigi? Answered the boy with a slight irritation in his voice, making the old man lower his head in shame. I'm sorry I was not here for you, Naruto, but can you tell me what you remember from last night? Replied the old man. Naruto, it's me, Natsuki. Stay calm and repeat after me. He instantly remembered the voice of his newest friend and followed her lead. He explained how he was thrown out of the orphanage 1 month ago, just a day after Sarutobi left for his diplomatic mission in Suna. He talked about how he survived from the streets alone during that month, and finally he finished with the event that took place the last night up to the point where he felt the stab wound on his chest and lost consciousness due to the pain. The old man fumed at the thought of the civilian council taking advantage of his diplomatic mission to try to take out the boy. He realized why they called for a meeting as soon as he arrived in Konoha. Most likely they tried to starve the boy to death, or at least weaken him to the point where he could not even put a fight or attempt to escape. When they finally make their move, they would then justify his death with a ridiculous attempt during the meeting and make the boy's body disappear at the same time. Naruto, it's important. Do you remember anything from after when you were stabbed yesterday? He asked the boy to try to discover if he came in contact with his tenant. No, Gigi. All I know is that I woke up here, answered the boy with no doubt in his voice. Where will I live now, Gigi? The people at the orphanage kicked me out and they never let any of the other children play with me, asked Naruto with sadness in his voice. Sarutobi frowned at the boy's words and cursed the stupidity and ignorance of the people. Naruto, I have a solution to your problem, but first I need to ask you a question. Do you want to become a ninja, to serve your village and to become a protector of the will of fire? Asked the old man, his eyes looking directly into the young boy's eyes. Really, Gigi, you will let me become a ninja? Answered an excited Naruto. Sarutobi chuckled at the boy, then answered, yes, Naruto, starting tomorrow you will enter the academy. You will get an apartment and you will come to me each week to get your money to buy what you need. How's that sound? That's great, Gigi. I will become the best shinobi. Just wait, I'll show them all who I am, exclaimed the boy with conviction. And a flashback. The last 6 years have been quite exciting for Naruto. After one day at the academy, he understood that those teachers would never teach him anything of value to help him in his future career. It did not stop him from wanting to become a shinobi. He knew he had an instructor that would help him develop his natural talent in the shinobi arts. Thinking about her made him remember the training he went through to reach the level he has now. Flashback. 6 years ago, after the first day at the academy. Na-chan, are you sure they were lying to me about teaching me how to be a proper shinobi? Asked the young boy to his tenant. Yes, Naruto, I am sure. You will learn in time to read people's emotion and you will be able to tell when someone is lying to you, answered the vixen. Okay, so how will I be able to become the best shinobi if no one is willing to teach me? Asked a dejected Naruto. Did you forget who you are speaking to? I have thousands years of experience and I doubt you could find someone better than me to explain to you how your bloodline works. Natsuki answered. What? I have a bloodline? What is it? Can I have the cool eyes like those ninja I saw once? Asked the boy. Natsuki had to supplement his answer. Do you not remember last night when I said that you unlocked my ability? Yes, the wind thing. So that's my bloodline? He had to smile at his previous question. Actually, that's only one of your bloodlines. You have another one that must come from one of your parents. Did you note that you never experienced illness or the fact that you heal a lot faster than anyone else around you? Answered Natsuki. No, I thought it was normal and everyone else was the same, he said with a shock drop. It also gives your body very high adaptability to any environment. That's why you have enormous amount of chakra. The seal converts permanently my chakra into your body to increase your own reserves, continued the vixen before she saw a frown on his face. Is it not dangerous for you, Na-chan, if I take all of your chakra? He asked with concern in his voice. He did not want to lose the first friend he made aside the old man. She was touched at his concern for her. Don't worry. I have plenty of chakra and you did not even tap the surface of my first tail up to this day, she said to comfort him. Okay, so when will you teach me that wind thing? Will I be able to fly? Will I launch Godzilla wind monsters at my enemies? Asked an overexcited boy who forgot all of his previous concern. Easy, tiger. You will learn everything in time, I promise you. For now your body is not ready yet, and since those fools at the academy won't teach you anything, we will adapt the best we can to your situation, she said in a strong voice to make him realize this was important. Since we can't do much during your day at the academy, you will rest your body and come inside your mindscape with me to learn what you can. It shouldn't be too hard. You just have to sleep all day like that boy with the pineapple haircut. The instructor won't bother you since they basically ignore you anyway. Then when you leave the academy you will go train your body every night, she finished to explain to him. Okay, that sounds like a plan, answered the boy with determination. And a flashback. And so his days went like that for 6 years. He remembered the schedule Natsuki made for him to complete his curriculum. The first 2 years were exclusively occupied with physical exercises to prepare his body for the future techniques he would learn. During his Mindscape training he would learn about the theory of chakra, how it was formed and what it could do. The third year was devoted to learn the Kitsune Taijutsu style. It was a style that was based on evasive movements, feints and counters. He developed the body to use this style, flexibility and some light muscle work that allowed swift and fast movements. During the day he would learn various subjects with Natsuki, ranging from philosophy to strategy. The fourth year was used to develop his ability with weapons. He learned everything from the use of kunai, shuriken, senbon to swordplay. Natsuki taught him the Kitsune Kenjutsu style. Strangely, she said that a bokken would suffice and that he didn't need to wield heavy weapons. He did not want to argue with her, so he did just as he was told. During the day he would learn all about science, and Natsuki insisted that this was a very important subject for his future. The fifth year was basic ninjutsu training. Natsuki decided to teach him every basic jutsu he would need in the future. He learned hens, Karimi, but he had difficulties to learn the Bunshin. Natsuki saw immediately the problem and decided to teach him the Cage Bunshin. Of course she knew of the technique advantage and had planned to teach it to him after that anyway. He spent the year perfecting those techniques and even learned the Shunshin displacement technique. The final year she decided it was finally time to teach him how to use his bloodline. He did try the test of the chakra paper, but his affinity to wine was so high the moment he started to channel chakra into the paper it exploded in hundreds of pieces. She thought that even if he did possess a second affinity, the first one was so powerful this test could not tell what the second one would be. Flashback. 1 year ago. Well, this test won't tell us any more than what we already knew, said Natsuki. So what do I do to use my bloodline? Asked the ever-excited blonde. For starters, your bloodline gives you total control over the wind element. You won't need any hand sign to launch wind-based jutsus. In a fight where two opponents of the same strength face each other, your speed of execution will determine your victory, she said first. Additionally, you will not have to call the jutsu either before launching it. Just thinking about it is enough before you launch it. In a mission where stealth or the surprise effect is needed, this will be a great asset to you, she continued. Finally, and this is where all the lessons I had you take in science come, your mastery over wind is so powerful you will have the ability to control or counter any other elemental attack used against you by just using your wind element, she finished. Naruto had been silent the entire time, nodding occasionally, but this needed explanation. What do you mean I can control or counter any elemental technique used against me, Na-chan? He asked in a confused voice. I know, for example, that fire elemental jutsus easily trump wind elemental jutsus, he continued. Excellent, Naruto, I see you remembered what I told you about the elements, she said with pride before continuing. Now remind me the basics on the fire element, she asked with a smirk on her face. Fire manipulation is based on the ability of the user to expel his chakra in a combustible material to lit it, and the reaction continues as long as the combustible is present and the user channels his chakra for the technique he recited. Pum. Good answer again. Now tell me, what is the most common combustible used during the fire manipulation jutsus? Her smirk was more and more confusing until he understood where she was going. His eyes widened. Oxygen. The ninja uses the oxygen in the air to fuel his technique, and I have complete mastery over wind and consequently the air between him and me, so no oxygen, no fire. That's genius, Na-chan, he shouted. That is correct, Naruto-kun, and it is basically the same for all the other elemental techniques, just with some adaptations. Nothing you couldn't find by yourself, she answered. And a flashback. And so his last year was dedicated to learn wind jutsus as well as finding counters to all the other elemental jutsus that would be used against him. The only problem with his training is that as it was a secret training and he did not reveal to anyone that he could communicate with his tenant or that he had an incredible bloodline. Not even to the old man. As a consequence, he could not test the results of his counter techniques as he had no way to throw any jutsu other than wind based on himself as a test subject. He wouldn't let this get to him as he thought about the next day. It was indeed the time for the genin exams, and starting tomorrow he would become a true shinobi of Konoha. Of course, he kept in a corner of his mind that a certain duck-ass in his graduating class had an uncanny ability to use fire jutsus, and that he could use this information to provoke the Emo King into a sparring session just to test run his control over his bloodline. Chapter 3. Genin exams. Naruto's apartment. It's finally the day of the genin exams as Naruto wakes up in his comfy apartment. It was a pretty well-equipped apartment. Naruto remembered when he first got here everything was old, dirty and barely usable. He went over the money the old man gave him for the week and decided to make a list of what he would need and how much he could save each week to buy new furniture with the help of Natsuki. They were surprised the first time Naruto tried to buy groceries at a nearby store. The shopkeeper gave Naruto a scowl and tripled the price when the time to pay came. Naruto didn't think much of it except for the fact that he would need to save money for a long time before he could afford new things for his apartment that were not of great priority. Of course, Natsuki knew better than the gullible young boy and explained to him that the shops were ripping him off. With the vixen advice, he went to the old man and asked why prices were doubled or tripled for him. Needless to say, the old man was pissed and went himself with the boy to each store he would need to buy things from in the future and discreetly threatened each store with the closure of their business and removal of their license in Konoha should they try again to rip off the young boy. Needless to say, life went a lot better for Naruto after that event. He finally got out of his bed and started his morning ritual. After that, he changed clothes and put on his ninja gears. His shinobi gears consisted of white ANBU-style pants, a white long-sleeve shirt with a black Jonin-style protection vest, black fingerless gloves and finally black shinobi boots. "Are you awake, Na-chan?" asked the 12-years-old teenager. "Yes, Naruto-kun, I am. So are you excited?" "It is finally the day you become a shinobi," replied the vixen in his mind. "You bet I am." "What level of skill do you think I should show during the exams?" Naruto said. If we look at this, considering who would be in your team after the exams, I think you need to take the spot of Rookie of the Year," she answered. "What do you mean? Can you predict who will be my teammates if I graduate with the best scores in today's exams?" he asked, a little confused. "Yes, remember when we learned about previous exams to prepare you for today and how Konoha tends to team up the Rookie of the Year with the top kunoichi of the class and then with the student scoring the lowest score," told Natsuki. "Yes, you're right. This way I won't have to be with the TEM. Looking at everyone's previous grades, I'd say Hinata or Sakura would be the top kunoichi while Kiba or Shikamaru would be the lowest student who passed," analyzed Naruto. "Yes, that is correct. You can't stand that spoiled brat with the god complex, and you know that I hate his guts too, so there's really no point to keep on hiding your skills at this point," she added. "Furthermore, you should limit your exposure to Chunin skill level as to not be too suspicious. Well, that kind of skill isn't impossible to reach for an academy student in his last year," she said to reply to his question. "That makes sense. I will hide my more powerful techniques for later then. Thanks, Na-chan." He finished their conversation. With that, he left his apartment, locked the door and then used Shunshin to get to the academy's roof. Konoha Academy. A small poof was heard on top of the academy's roof and Naruto slowly made his way to his classroom for what he swore would be his last day in this building. Upon entering his classroom, He saw that he was the last to arrive. His class was composed of most of Konoha's future clan heads. Abraham Shino, heir to the Abraham clan, and a guy Naruto never talked to up to this day. Akimeki Choji, heir to the Akimeki clan, and someone Naruto never saw without some food. Hyuga Hinata, heiress to the Hyuga clan, and a girl Naruto never saw finish a sentence without a stutter. Inuzuka Kiba, heir to the Inuzuka clan, and someone who always liked to pick a fight with the Uchiha. Some kind of alpha male thing, as he remembered Natsuki explaining to him. Nara Shikamaru, heir to the Nara clan and laziest person Naruto ever met. Uchiha Sasuke, heir to the Uchiha clan, even though said clan was in fact only him, as the rest died in an obscure accident years ago. The Uchiha had to be the most arrogant person Naruto ever met, and even though he had some skills, he thought of himself being God's gift to the shinobi nations. Yamanaka Ino, heiress to the Yamanaka clan and the most superficial girl in the class. The rest of the students were from civilians' families, and only one or two had the skill to become a true ninja, Haruno Sakura being one of them if she ever decided to get her head out of the Uchiha's ass. The Chunin instructor Zumino Akura and his assistant Mizuki entered the classroom and described what the tests would be about. The first part was a written exam. Naruto knew all the answers and calmly filled his exam paper with the good answers. He finished the test in half an hour and waited patiently for the rest of the time. The second part was about weapon accuracy. Students had to throw 10 kunai and after that 10 shuriken at different targets placed on the practice field. The students were called in alphabetic order. Shino scored 7 on the kunai exam and 7 on the shuriken exam. Choji scored 7 on the kunai exam and 6 on the shuriken exam. Hinata scored 9 on the kunai exam and 9 on the shuriken exam. Excellent, Hinata, said Iruka with pride, while the girl just blushed and discreetly took her place back in the crowd. Kiba scored 5 on the kunai exam and 5 on the shuriken exam. He left the launching spot with a scowl on his face. Shikamaru scored 5 on the kunai exam and 6 on the shuriken exam. Sasuke scored 10 on the kunai exam and 9 on the shuriken exam. He had a scowl on his face as the last shuriken throw didn't have enough strength to stay embedded in the target. He left the spot with a smirk on his face, looking at the next contestant. "Beat that dope," he said as he left the place. Naruto went to his spot with a bored expression on his face. He analyzed the distance of each target in his mind and prepared to launch his weapons. High-speed penetration power. Straight path to the target. Air resistance decreased by a factor 3. Small layer of wind chakra applied to each kunai, he thought in his mind before launching all 10 kunai at the same time. The crowd went silent as each kunai hit the target in the center and embedded itself deeply inside with such strength that the support holding back each target went a few inches backward. Iruka's eyes widened at the sight and Sasuke's smirk instantly disappeared, and he said, "Lucky shot, dope," while he mentally fumed at what just happened in front of him. Naruto took the insult silently and prepared himself for the next part of the exam with a smirk. Low speed penetration power. Curved path to the target. Air resistance decreased by a factor 2. Medium-sized layer of wind chakra applied to each shuriken, he thought in his mind. This time he launched each shuriken one at a time with very large movements from his throwing arm, giving each shuriken a different curving path to hit every target dead in the center. Once again, everyone's jaw dropped to the ground, including the instructors. Naruto left the spot saying to no one in particular. He said, "Man, I'm so lucky today. Wonder what's going on," with a grin on his face. Very good, Naruto. You must be very lucky today," announced Iruka before initiating the next part of the exams. "Now is the time to assess your taijutsu level," continued the Chunin. Students were paired 2 by 2 and the matches went on for 3 minutes each time, and the student scoring the most points by hitting designated area of their opponent's body won. Every fight went on until the last 2 boys were called. Uchiha Sasuke vs Uzumaki. Naruto called Iruka. "The dope will pay for the humiliation he put me through earlier," thought the black-haired teen. "Is it luck or not that I have to face the Emo King here?" wondered the blonde. "Hajime," called Iruka. Sasuke charged immediately at his opponent and launched a barrage of punches and kicks. Naruto simply danced around his opponent, making good use of the excellent footwork he developed for the Kitsune Taijutsu style. The fight went on like this for 2 minutes and 30 seconds until the Uchiha, quite tired from his attempts to hit the blonde, tried to bait him into charging. "Don't know what kind of style you are using, dope, but the one who invented it must be pretty stupid to use a style where you don't even have an offensive attack," he said with a smirk. "Am I supposed to charge at him with everything I have while yelling to defend my master's honor? What an idiotic taunt," thought the blonde before a grin made its way on his face. "I'll give him what he wants then." Futen. Kaze no Yoroi thought Naruto charging wind chakra into his body before disappearing from his original position, leaving several after images in his path. Using his own family stance, Sasuke blocked the strike, or he thought he did, as an after image charged right through him and he lowered his guard. Then the real Naruto followed after that and delivered a powerful hit into his opponent's solar plexus, effectively cutting the air circulation in Sasuke's body. The black-haired boy fell to the ground silently, already unconscious before touching the ground. Iruka woke up from his stupor and announced the winner. Shaosha Uzumaki Naruto by KO in 2 minutes and 35 seconds earns maximum points before he took the Uchiha's body over his shoulder to proceed to the infirmary. The exam took a short recess for everyone to go eat and then resumed after that. The last part of this year exams is the ninjutsu proficiency, he told the students. The exam went without a problem for Naruto as he had already learned all the techniques that the instructors asked him to perform to pass the exam. He took his headband and as he left the room he noticed the scowl on Mizuki's face. He left it in a corner of his mind and proceeded to the exit. When the last part was over, every student returned to his desk and Iruka congratulated the new Genins while he gave some words of encouragement to those who failed. Now is the time to announce the scores for the spot of Rookie and Kunoichi of the Year. He would not announce the student who passed with the lowest grade as it was not something to really be proud of, nor did said student really needed a public humiliation. For the spot of Kunoichi of the Year, Hiwaga Hinata, he said with pride. The girl blushed but she could stand up and bow to her teacher before sitting back. Now for this year top student and Rookie of the Year, Uzumaki Naruto, he said again with pride in his voice. Before Naruto could move, Sasuke stood up from his desk. What? This is not possible. How could this clanless fool be higher than me, a Uchiha? I demand you change the ranking and give me the title of Rookie of the Year, he said with rage. Before Iruka could put the arrogant fool in his place, Naruto stood up. Dude, you're seriously messed up. Did the beating earlier gave you amnesia or something? I scored higher than you in weapon accuracy and obviously in taijutsu. Our written exam results should be pretty close and ninjutsu proficiency is the same too, since I doubt any of us failed any of those jutsus, said the blonde. As Sasuke went to reply again with a scowl on his face, Naruto cut him by saying, well, I feel generous today and I'll humor you. How about a Sparta set in stone who the Rookie of this year is? No move restriction, only rule is to not kill. How's that sound? Fine by me, Dobe, replied Sasuke. Iruka-sensei, asked Naruto. Are you sure, Naruto? Replied the Chunin to receive a nod from his student. Alright then, you got 3 minutes not 1 second more in Hajime, he said with a sigh. Sasuke immediately fell into a combat stance and launched 2 shuriken in Naruto's direction. Wow, talk about non-lethal moves, thought the blonde as he easily sidestepped the incoming weapons. Sasuke used the weapons as a distraction to immediately attack Naruto in a taijutsu opposition. The fight went on again like earlier with the occasional kunai or shuriken thrown by the Avenger until he once again lost his patience and started to do hand signs. Katen, Gokkaku no Jutsu, he said as he expelled a huge fireball in Naruto's direction. Iruka was about to interfere to save Naruto when said blonde lifted his hand in Iruka's direction telling him to stand down. The Chunin complied, fear in his eyes. Now not too flashy but still enough to put him in his place. He thought for a second before preparing for his counter. Oxygen concentration decreased by 100% in a small radius field and wine lateral speed reduced by 100% in a medium radius field for 10 seconds. He tough as he expelled his chakra into a field around him just small enough to cover his body for the duration of Sasuke's jutsu. As the wind around him instantly stopped, the fireball continued its course in Naruto's direction and as it reached its target, it simply dispelled itself into emptiness. This left the entire assembly wide-eyed as Naruto said, was that supposed to do something? The next moment he was already behind a shocked Sasuke and delivered a powerful chop to his opponent's neck, effectively taking him out. W winner Uzumaki Naruto, said Iruka as he called the fight. Don't forget to come back tomorrow for team placement, he finished. Well, let's get back now, Chan. I'm finally a genin, he said to his tenant as he left the field. Chapter 4 Truth and Love. Naruto's apartment. It was the night right after the genin exams and Naruto was about to go to bed. He thought about everything that had changed for him today. He was now a genin of Konoha, a protector of the will of fire and an adult in the eyes of the rest of the world. This last revelation made him wonder how tonight's conversation would go with Natsuki. Thinking about the vixen made him smile, not the fake smile he usually displayed to everyone in Konoha. No, this was a true smile of happiness. The two shared a very friendly relationship, Natsuki was the only one who knew the real Naruto, and since the night of the accident they shared a telepathic link that allowed them to communicate with each other through Naruto's mind. Naruto always shared everything he had with Natsuki, well, almost everything. There was this one thing that he had hidden from her, a thing that he wanted to reveal to her when he felt the time was right. Tonight would be the time for him to tell her how he truly feels about her. Tonight Naruto will confess his love to the woman who stole his heart from the moment he understood what love is. The thought that she could reject him terrified the young blonde, but Natsuki always taught him to face his problems head-on and to never let fear stop him from moving on with his hardships. With those thoughts in mind, he decided to call it a night and join Natsuki in his menscape for what would be the most important conversation they had had together in all his life. He slowly closed his eyes and relaxed his mind, letting sleep take over him. Menscape. Naruto drifted into his menscape and made his way to Natsuki's location. The menscape had changed drastically since the first time he was there. Now, instead of the chaotic desolated sewers, he stood in a beautiful clearing with an average-sized house in the center. He made his way inside the house to find Natsuki asleep in the couch of the living room. She wore an additional necklace that she didn't have during their first encounter. It was a beautiful silver necklace with a red ruby stone in the center. On the stone could be read the kanji for seal engraved in gold characters in it. He took a few steps forward to join her and began to slowly caress her hair. His action slowly woke her up with a smile on her face. "Na-chan, wake up," he said slowly as he continued to run his hand through her hair. "Naruto-kun, you're here. So how does it feel to take the first step towards your dream?" she asked as she opened her eyes. "Feels great, Na-chan. Today when I left the academy building I felt like I could take on the world, that nothing was impossible for me," he answered with lots of determination in his voice. "I'm so proud of you. I'm sure that one day you will be the light of Konoha. Everyone will see you for the great and kind soul you are, as I do," she said to him. "It's all thanks to you, Na-chan. I don't know where I would be today without you with me. Most likely I would still be wandering the streets aimlessly or worse," he said with emotion. "I came to tell you something tonight. Please let me finish before you reply. It is very important to me," he pleaded, and she gave him a nod to continue. "I don't know where to start, so I'll just say it from my heart. Na-chan, I love you. I've been in love with you for a long time now, and I just wanted for you to know you are the most beautiful woman I have ever seen, and I feel safe to talk about anything with you without fear. I know that I'm far from the best you could have as a boyfriend, but I promise you to always be there for you and protect you with all my might until the end of time," he said to her, looking straight into her eyes. "I want you to know that I will find a way to get you out of the seal, that I promise you. Even if you don't like me back, I will honor this oath I make to you," he finished, and then looked to the ground nervously. "If only you knew," she thought with tears in her eyes. "Before I give you my answer, I want you to listen to me as I listen to you, and do not interrupt me until I am done, okay?" she asked him, to which he also gave her a nod of acceptance. "As you know, I told you I was sealed in you the day of your birth by the Yondaime after I lost control of myself and attacked Konoha due to one man we will talk about later. What you don't know is what, or more importantly where I was before all this happened. Before your birth I was sealed inside you, mother, my second Jinchuriki," she said as Naruto's eyes widened at the revelation, but he remained silent as he promised. "Your mother's name was Uzumaki Kushina, and she was chosen to be my Jinchuriki after the last one because of her Uzumaki bloodline that made her the perfect host for me. Female Uzumaki Jinchuriki possess a bloodline that allow them to have control over the Buu, but we'll talk about that later. Unfortunately, female Jinchuriki also have a weakness: childbirth. When comes the day they give birth to a child, the seal holding back the Buu will weaken severely. The day you were born, the seal on Kushina failed, and I was forced out of her body by a man with very high powers. I didn't even have the time to realize I was outside again after so long that he used a jutsu on me to cloud my mind with his hypnotic suggestion. The next thing I remember is waking up sealed inside you. So there you have it. I am the reason you are all alone in this world, feared and hated by all." She finished her tale with tears freely flowing out of her red eyes as she waited for his reaction. After a long time lost in his thought, Naruto looked back into Natsuki's eyes. "This is not what I asked you. I still want to know how you feel about me," he said. "Of course I love you too. You are a kind and gentle soul. Any female would be crazy not to accept your feelings. You are everything I could hope for in a mate. I was just so afraid you would hate me for my past that I couldn't bring myself to tell you about your mother until today, but your confession left me with no other choice," she answered truthfully. "Then it doesn't change my feelings for you, Na-chan. While I'm not entirely happy that you didn't tell me about my mom until today, I understand where you're coming from, as I felt the same thinking about what I'd do if you didn't like me back. Furthermore, as you already told me the first time we met, it was not in your intention to attack Kanoha that night. You were forced to do it, and we will talk about that mysterious man later," he said with conviction in his voice to reassure her. With nothing else holding them back anymore, they slowly made their way to each other and shared their first kiss ever. The kiss was everything Naruto imagined it would be, tender at first as their lips made contact, then full of passion as she parted her lips for their tongues to collide. Naruto didn't know how long they stayed like this, but he couldn't care less. Nothing else in the world mattered at this moment, as he wished it would forever go on. When they finally parted, bright blue oceanic eyes stared into deep volcanic red eyes. Natsuki Kiwabe no Yoko, this is the greatest feeling ever. I love you more than anything in this corrupted world. Naruto Uzumaki, I love you too with all my heart, she replied before she noticed he was starting to fade away. Looks like it's already the morning outside, said Naruto sadly as he felt himself being pulled out of his menscape. I'll see you soon, Naruto-kun. Don't be late for your team placement today, she said as he finally left his menscape. Back in Naruto's room, Naruto woke up with the biggest smile ever on his face. He never felt so alive even when he was learning incredible wind jutsu during his training years. He did his morning ritual and prepared his ninja equipment for the day. Once done, he left via Shunshin after locking the door. Konoha's academy. Naruto made his way to his usual desk and waited patiently for Iruka and Mizuki to arrive when he suddenly remembered about the silver-haired Chunin instructor. Mizuki, I totally forgot about that bastard. I should have gone to the old man yesterday, toughed the blonde before he saw the door to the classroom open and Iruka enter with lots of bandages on his face. Iruka-sensei, what happened to your face and where's Mizuki? He refused to call someone sensei if they didn't deserve it. Iruka took a thinking pose to decide what he could tell his students before speaking. I'm sorry to say this to you all who knew Mizuki, but yesterday he was found red-handed trying to steal the forbidden scroll of Konoha's Kinjutsu by a patrol. I was the one who located him the first before he could leave Konoha's walls, and I stopped him. That's why I got these injuries, but the scroll is safe and Mizuki has been taken into custody, replied the instructor before he added, let's make this my final lesson to all of you. In a shinobi's life, today's ally could very well be tomorrow's opponent and vice versa, he said with seriousness in his voice. Well, let's get this done now, shall we? Continued Iruka. Now the team placement will be the following. Team 1. Naruto dozed off until he started to hear names of those he considered having a chance to make it past Genin. Team 7. Haruno Sakura, Uchiha Sasuke and Abraham Shino. Your Jonin sensei will be Hate Kakashi, announced Iruka as Naruto knew what was coming as he blocked his earways and could still hear, mind you in an audible volume, Sakura shouting to the heavens about love winning or something like that. Shino was as expressive as ever and Sasuke kept on glaring at him for some reason. Must still be mad at me about the fight of yesterday and not being the rookie of the year, thought Naruto. Thank God we are not with him. It would have been the recipe for a disaster, said Natsuki as she made her presence known. Why, you're awake, Na-chan, said Naruto, still blushing at yesterday's events. Love you too, Naruto-kun, said the vixen in a playful manner, knowing how to push the right buttons to embarrass her host. Team 8, Inizuka Kiba, Hyuga Hinata and Uzumaki. Naruto, you Jonin sensei will be Yuhi Kurenai, said Iruka, pulling Naruto out of his musing. So Kiba was the dead last of this year, thought Naruto. Well, at least he's not a complete retard, as the Uchiha and Hinata seems capable enough if she just gained some more confidence. Kurenai is the genjutsu mistress of Konoha. Surely I will be able to test my resistance to genjutsu with her as a teacher. That's great. What do you think, Na-chan? Yes, that's great. I feel that we can expect her to treat you fairly from what the report we read about her said about her professionalism and her caring attitude, replied Natsuki. Team 9 is still active from last year, continued Iruka. Team 10, Akimaki Choji, Nara Shikamaru and Yamanaka Ino. Your Jonin sensei is Sarutobi Asuma, said Iruka as he finished his announce. So they decided to reform the legendary Ino Shikacho team with their children without even considering their current relationship with each other. That's pretty stupid. Well, Shikamaru and Choji will do fine together, but I don't see Ino fitting in that team anytime soon, thought Naruto, analyzing Team 10's potential. That's all. Stay here until your sensei comes to get you, and good luck for your future career. I am proud to have been your sensei," said Iruka as he left the classroom. Naruto felt a little sad that he would see Iruka a lot less from now on, since he had been the only fair teacher to him during his academy days. His mind refocused as the first Jonin made their entry inside the classroom. A beautiful woman in her 20s made her way inside with the Hokage's son Sarutobi Asuma, as Naruto recognized the man for having seen him numerous times with the old man as he visited him in the past. "I am Yuhi Kurenai, Jonin Sensei for Team 8. Please follow me to training ground number 8, she said as she started to leave the room. Naruto looked at Kiba and Hinata, shrugging his shoulders before he decided to follow his new teacher for what would be a new chapter of his life. Chapter 5, Friendship and Trust. Training Ground 8. The newly formed Team 8 just arrived at their destination, Training Ground 8, following their Jonin instructor Yuhi Kurenai. Kurenai was a beautiful woman with long black curly hair and red eyes. She wore customized clothes and she had an aura of maturity despite her young age for a Jonin. "Welcome and congratulations on becoming real ninjas to you three," she said. "You already know my name, but let's introduce ourselves properly," she finished. "My name is Yuhi Kurenai. I like training to perfect my genjutsu skills, passing time with my best friend Enko, and eating dango. I dislike perverts, arrogant and sexist people. My dream for the future is to teach you all to reach your full potential as ninjas, and for me to be one day recognized as the best genjutsu user in the elemental nations," she said before giving a nod to Hinata to go on. "My name is Hyuga Hinata. I like my family and learning my family taijutsu style. My dislike are the same as sensei, and my dream is to reunite my family into a family with no distinction between main and branch members," she said hesitantly and stuttering a little. Kiba knew he was next and began. "My name is Inuzuka Kiba, and here is my companion Akamaru. I like my family and learning my family jutsu. I dislike fangirls, arrogant pricks who think they are better than anyone, and people who disrespect animals, and my dream is to be a good clan head in the future." Naruto nodded as he thought that Kiba was a good guy behind all his idiocy. "My name is Uzumaki Naruto. I like training and reading. I dislike arrogant, ignorant people, and my dream for the future is to become the strongest Hokage ever and protect everyone in Konoha, even those who don't deserve it," he said to his team. Kurenai then explained to them that they had to pass her test in order to truly become genin. She pulled out 2 bells from her pouch and told them they would need to get the bells from her in order to pass the test, and that obviously at least one of them would fail and get sent back to the academy. She then gave them the signal to start as she disappeared in a swirl of leaves into the forest. Kiba and Hinata were about to rush into the forest when Naruto called them back. "Guys, wait. It's a trap. We have to work together to get those bells," he said to them. "How do you know, Naruto?" asked Kiba, while Hinata stayed silent and blushing a bit at being called by her crush. "Have you ever heard of a one-man cell or even a two-man cell?" he asked them. "Yay, me neither. Konoha policy is to promote teamwork, and I think this is a test to see if we could perform up to their standard," continued Naruto. His teammates were surprised that Naruto, who never stood out during the academy days, was so good to read behind the mission objectives. Kiba did not have a problem with working as a team since his family motto was to work for the good of the pack before all. Hinata saw the truth in his words and decided to follow them. As they ran into the forest in a single line formation, they spotted several traps and evaded them all. The formation idea was surprisingly Kiba's idea. The logic behind it was good too, thought Naruto. Hinata went first with her Byakugan. She spotted all traps left by Kurenai, but also could see right through their sensei's genjutsu traps too. Naruto was in the center. As they recalled his perfect score in weapon accuracy, he would be the perfect one to launch counterattacks once a threat has been identified. Kiba took the rear guard. Using his enhanced sense of smell and hearing, he could prevent attacks from behind the team. Kurenai was impressed as she saw the newly assembled genin work so well together as they were evading her traps and following her in the forest. She then decided to increase the difficulty and made her presence known as she started to change her strategy. Hinata suddenly stopped running, signaling there was a problem. "I can still see Sensei, but there's a problem," she said. "Sensei chakra signature is now coming from 4 directions and I can't tell which one is the real one with my Byakugan. I can tell them apart either. They all smell the same," added Kiba. "Okay, I've got a plan. Listen to me," said Naruto to his team as he began to explain to his teammates his plan to beat Kurenai's cage Benshins. The moment Kurenai and her clones arrived, coming from all the cardinal directions around the spot where her team was supposed to have stopped, A trap was heard and several smoke bombs went off. The area was soon covered with smoke. When the smoke cleared out after a short time, Kurenai came face to face with 7 other Kurenai in the clearing where she should have found her team and only 3 of her doppelgangers. Now she knew 3 of them were her clones and she thought for a moment to dispel them all to know who to target specifically, but decided against it for 2 reasons. First is because it would weaken her advantage against the fakes, who would then in turn all decide to attack her at the same time. And second is because she found their strategy remarkable and wanted to see if their plan had something else after the surprise effect they just displayed against her. Moreover, she found a hole in their plan, if even she could not find who was a fake and who was a clone in those 7. So how could the genin? They shouldn't know either who to target after the smoke screen cleared. Then all of a sudden 4 Kurenai charged at the remaining ones, including the real Kurenai who obviously faced one of her genin hinged into her. In a 4-2 vs 2 taijutsu spars. Upon first contact, all of the attacking Kurenai changed back into Hinata, Kiba, Akiba hinged Akamaru and finally Naruto, with Naruto being the one who faced the real Kurenai. Now even though she was a genjutsu specialist, it didn't mean she could not hold her own in taijutsu. Plus having the snake mistress of Konoha as a sparring partner helped a lot in that aspect, knowing that Anko was a master of the very deadly snake taijutsu style. Hinata and Kiba were no slouch either, as their style were heavily based on their family very powerful taijutsu. Her clones did overpower the genin after some time but did not have enough chakra left to amount to anything more, so they dispelled themselves. Akamaru was not that lucky as he was quickly taken out by his cloned opponent. That only left one Naruto slightly winded after facing the real one and 2 Kurenai on the field. The real Kurenai smirked in advance at her imminent victory, though she decided that she would pass this team anyway. With the teamwork they displayed, it was enough for her even if they didn't get the bells. She did not expect her clone to suddenly throw a bunch of kunai and shuriken in her direction, narrowly escaping the projectiles. She landed a few meters backwards, but a sudden white and yellow blur caught her attention. "He is fast," she thought before the impact. She took a clean hit into her sternum section and was thrown back, sliding to the ground for a few meters. She stood up holding her stomach and ready to use some high-level genjutsu to slow Naruto down when he smirked at her, holding up 2 bells in his right hand. "I think we win, Sensei," said Naruto with a grin on his face. She was astonished as she didn't even felt him taking out the bells. Deciding to try a final test and seeing as the other 2 were out, she said to him, "Very impressive, Naruto. I didn't expect the clone facing Akamaru to be one of yours and not mine." "Thanks, Sensei," answered Naruto as Akamaru stood up from his fake unconscious state and rejoined his master, who really was unconscious. "How did you and the others know who was a clone of mine and not a hench teammate before the fight?" asked Kurenai. "Easy, Sensei. First I took out Akamaru's opponent during the confusion and then," answered Naruto as he made his Kurenai clone hold out her hand. It had some kind of marking written with a pen or something, and then he made it dispelled. "Very clever. You win. Now choose who you will give the last bell to." "Naruto and who will be sent back to the academy?" asked Kurenai. Naruto seemed to think for a moment what to reply to her when he took the bells and threw one near Hinata and the other to Kiba. "It was a team effort to take those bells from you, Sensei. Even if I am the last one standing, I choose not to abandon my comrades," he said with determination in his eyes. Hinata and Kiba chose this moment to wake up, and their respect for the blonde grew tenfold after hearing his words and the fact that he didn't profit from their unconscious state to go ahead and claim a bell for himself. Kurenai also was impressed and with a smile on her face announced, "Team 8. It is my pleasure to say that you all passed my test for the genin admission application." With pride in her eyes. "Yahoo! Do you hear that, buddy? We passed!" shouted Kiba as he took Akamaru in his arms. Hinata just smiled and thought that maybe her father would be impressed with her for once. Naruto felt pride too. He never knew that teamwork could be so fulfilling. He knew that he could have probably gone alone against Kurenai, but having shared this moment with his teammates made it more impressive to him. "That is all for today. Good job, Team 8. Meet me here tomorrow at 9 and we will begin our missions." She dismissed her team but quickly called Naruto back. "Naruto, would you come with me to the Hokage Tower, please? I think there are things we need to discuss," she said in a tone that clearly showed that no was not an option. He gave her a nod and followed after her as his teammates made their way back to their home. Hokage Tower, Hokage office. As Kurenai was about to knock on the Hokage office's door, Naruto simply kicked the door open and went inside. "Hey there, Gigi. Long time no see. I'm a shinobi of the leaf now," exclaimed Naruto as he saw Sarutobi behind his desk. "That I see, my boy. Congratulations, it seems you're one step further to take my hat, Naruto replied the old man. Anyway, what are you doing here? Surely you didn't come here just to tell me that. I am the one who made the team arrangement after all, and I already knew that you passed the exams, continued the old shinobi. Actually, Hokage-sama, I am the one who called Naruto here, said a still shocked Kurenai at the display of familiarity between her student and the man called the Shinobi no Kami. Naruto was starting to get nervous at the reason why Kurenai wanted to bring him here. During our fight to determine if Naruto and his teammates had what it takes to be real Konoha ninja, Naruto here displayed some impressive skills. I would even go as far to say that those skills were too impressive, she continued. Naruto was cursing in his head. He did show too much during the fight, and Kurenai was no Chunin instructor with no field experience. She knew when she saw real power in a fight. Kurenai described to the Hokage how the fight went on. Naruto's use of Kage Bunshin to fool her in the final confrontation in the last move he performed to hit her, which was from what she could tell well beyond Genin or even Chunin in terms of power and speed. After that, a long pause went on until Sarutobi said, Naruto, please tell me how you could perform the Kage Bunshin, and what that last move was, and don't forget anything. The old man had a look in his eyes that told Naruto that lies would not be well accepted. Naruto took a long breath, closed his eyes and then nodded. You may want to make sure the room is secured, Gigi. What I will tell you will rock your world, and in the wrong ears could prove to become a hassle for Konoha, announced the blonde. Sarutobi's eyes widened at this, since he never saw Naruto so serious before, and quickly made hand signs to secure his office from prying ears. Once done, he motioned for Naruto to speak. It all started 6 years ago, the night I was attacked, began Naruto. He told them everything, his encounter with Natsuki, his training with her for the last 6 years, the general content of said training, how he knew of his mother Kushina, and with that the reason why the Kyuubi attacked 12 years ago. Sarutobi was at first scared that the Kyuubi was somehow manipulating the young ninja, but the facts that Naruto came up with during his tale made him believe in the blonde when he said that Natsuki was trustworthy. He also felt a great fear at the mention of a man capable of controlling the Kyuubi. Finally, he knew that he would have to tell Naruto soon about his father too. He just hoped Jiraiya would be there too to help him announce the news to Naruto. Kurenai for her part was impressed at what Naruto had to endure during his life up to now. She was also sad to learn that Naruto was the son of her late sensei Kushina, and that she had not been able to help the boy when he needed it in his childhood. She made a silent promise to help the young man in front of her from now on, and maybe teach him a thing or two about his mother. So Gigi, sensei, am I in trouble? Asked Naruto. No Naruto, you are not. Even tough, I would have preferred for you to come to me and tell me everything sooner. I can understand that you have trust issues with people after what you've been through, replied the Sangame. I understand too why you did not reveal everything you could do during our fight, Naruto, and I'm not mad at you. We will have to talk about what you can do though in order for the team to function properly. While we are on the revelations, I can tell you that your mother was my Jonin sensei when I was a genin. I would be honored to tell you about her if you wish after this, replied Kurenai. Naruto was relieved. He never liked to lie to the old man, and he felt that he could now trust Kurenai too, as she was a student to his mother. That would be all for now. The Genin official papers will be ready before the end of the day, and I will see you Kurenai and your team tomorrow for your first mission, announced the Hokage before dismissing them. Naruto's apartment. Naruto made it to his apartment and opened a link with Natsuki. Do you think I made the right choice to tell them everything, Na-chan? Only time will tell us, Naru-kun, but I think they are trustworthy, replied Natsuki. I guess you're right, I'm a bit winded from today's fight and revelations. I'm calling it a night, said Naruto as he fell asleep. Hokage Tower Mission Hall. A month had passed since the Genin exams. Naruto and Team 8 had done their fair share of D-rank missions. Team 8, you will be pleased that I have a C-rank mission for you. If Kurenai here thinks you are ready, of course, exclaimed Sarutobi. My team is ready, Hokage-sama, replied Kurenai with pride. Teamwork with her team was flawless, as she had Hinata lose her crush on Naruto and Kiba focus more during fights. Alright then. Team 7 was in the middle of their first C-rank mission to Wave Country when they encountered more resistance than the mission parameters. Protocol would have wanted for the senior officer Hate Kakashi to withdraw from the mission and pull back his team, but it seems he let his genin decide if they should continue the mission or not. Needless to say, the Uchiha wanted to continue to prove to the world that he is the best, anticipated Naruto with a nod from Kiba and a bark from Akamaru. That is correct, replied Sarutobi. Before adding, however, Baramshino had the presence to send one of his familiar back to warn some relatives, who in turn warned me about these new developments. Continued Bahukage. Looking at their opposition, I think that it is safe to say that they will need reinforcement for their mission. That's why Team 8 will deploy in 1 hour to join them in Wave to complete their mission. Kurenai will assume leadership over the operation once your team joins Team 7. Is that clear? Yes, Hokage-sama, replied Kurenai. Then dismissed and good luck, finished the old man as Team 8 left for their first real mission. That's the end of this part, guys. If you want the next part, then like, subscribe and leave a comment saying so. This is Maelstrom signing off.